pharmaceutical industry wrote into the prescription drug plan that Medicare could not negotiate with drug companies. And you know what? The chairman of the committee who pushed the law through went to work for the pharmaceutical industry.
Well, when it came to health care reform, candidate Barack Obama's favorite target on the campaign trail was the pharmaceutical industry's chief lobbyist, Billy Talzin. Mr. Obama criticizing the role that Talzin played in preventing Medicare from negotiating lower drug prices. But today, Talzin is the president's partner.
Best friends.
Meeting, yeah, BFF now. Meeting in the White House several times on his perfect topic. He is the lobbyist, right, on health care reform. So why this turn from villain to victor? And why is the prez now embracing his arch enemy? Well, our next guest is a Republican lawmaker who has fought many of the provisions in the House health care reform bill, but he, too, is now agreeing to meet with President Obama. Will Congressman Michael Burgess become the president's partner on health care reform, too? Is that a good or a bad thing, Congressman, that you went from being the arch enemy and criticizing everything, and now you're meeting? Are you guys going to get all cozy up, share a Blue Moon beer together and the iron table and all that?
I think it's, I offered to bring some Diet Coke. Maybe that's what sealed the deal. You know, here's the thing. The president said he was willing to have any lawmaker who was uncomfortable with the bill down to the White House and talk about it, go through it line by line if necessary. Well, I think that's a good thing, and if it can shed some additional light on things, I've got certainly some questions and some ideas that I would like to share with the president. I don't know if they're going to have me down there. The word we got back yesterday from a magazine called Politico was that, hey, they'd talk to me all they cared to, and that was in a 30-second YouTube video that I submitted, where I submitted a question for one of his town halls. So I actually don't know where this stands. The president made the offer as a member of Congress representing 800,000 folks back here in North Texas. Sure, it was my obligation to respond to the president's request, but at the same time, who knows if it's really going to come off.
Congressman, I mean, let's drill down on this. 1,200 pages that have been formally written by lobbyists. Most lawmakers have not even bothered to read it. You've got an invite then to go read it line by line. Have you read the 1,200 pages that they are trying to put into law? And if not, are you going to before it actually ends up being implemented somehow?
Well, now remember, there have been several iterations that have come across the desk.
Have you read any of them? Let me ask it that way.
Yeah. Yeah, I read the draft that came out a couple of weeks ago, and then the 1,018 and then the 1,026-page bill, which were largely similar, that we marked up in committee.
And I guess the real question then is, were they not written by the lobbyist and Talzin himself? That's where we're going with all of this.
I don't know. I haven't talked to Mr. Talzin to know whether or not that's the case. There was a lot of it that was written by lobbyists. There was a lot of it written by community organizers of some fame and notoriety around the country. A lot of the amendments that we saw that were introduced by the Democrats, I rather suspect were brought to bear by some of the community organizer groups. There's a lot of people putting forth input into this bill. Yeah. All I know is I did the work that I was required to. I prepared 50 amendments for the committee work when we did it. A few of those were in fact accepted, but most were ignored or blown out by a technicality. So it's just been tough sledding all the way around from someone on my side. And here's the deal. If we had sat down and decided to work on the 8 to 10 million Americans who are really in a tough way with health insurance because they've got a pre-existing condition, or they're medically fragile, or they've had their insurance revoked by their insurance company, if we had looked at doing some serious insurance reform and fixing the world for those 8 to 10 million people, that would have been quite an accomplishment that we could have all gone home and been proud about. Instead, we've got this nonsense of a bill that everyone's getting plastered.
Doctor, we're running out of time. I just want to ask you a quick question. I'm not sure if I'm more ticked off that a lobbyist is now sitting with the president to discuss the health care reform bill. Here's the thing that really jumps out at me. If a package passes Congress, the pharmaceutical industry has ponied up $80 billion in savings, okay? Why don't they just do it anyway? Why are they waiting for a bill to come forth and say, hey, these are...
Yeah.
Why does it take this to do it?
And the Congressional Budget Office will give them no credit in savings for this. They say you're supposed to be doing that anyway. Same with the insurance company. But the reason the pharmaceutical companies are doing it, they realize that if they're not at the table, they're on the menu. And right now, they'd rather be at the table. Unfortunately, with this administration, they're going to end up on the menu. There's no way around it. Look what's happened to commercial insurance in just the last 4 weeks. They've gone from hero to goat in about a 4-week span.
Yep.
Congressman Burgess, thank you very much. And please, if you do in fact meet with the president, gosh, bring down the costs for all of us. Thank you very much. We'll have you back on Happy Hour after that important meeting with the president.
Great. Thank you.
All right, folks, it's time now for Hit or Miss, some hidden gems.